Many students are just very excited about starting ACCA, and because they know that this is a flexible program and that they can take time on their side, their entire objective is to clear ACCA at the earliest. So in this video, we're going to give you a few of the options that you can take up that increases the probability of you actually completing ACCA in the first go. If this is the first time you're visiting our channel, then please give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you've not subscribed, then please do that right away. Alright, let's jump into it. One of the things you can do that can help you is the sequencing of the exams. Now, remember that within each level of ACCA, that is within the knowledge level, you can give it in any sequence. You don't have to go as per a particular order. Same thing for skill level, same thing for professional. Also, what we are recommending is an approach we suggest. However, if you are watching this when you've been in the middle of your ACCA exams, or for whatever reason you have to start it with another sequence, it's absolutely okay, right? It doesn't really change the game for anybody who's just put in the right amount of effort. But if you want that slight edge, you can follow this pattern. So within the knowledge level, we would recommend that you start with financial accounting. Financial accounting is the core of ACCA, right? It's all about accounts, right? It's all about numbers. It's all about logic. It's all about concepts. Also, if you're an Indian student, you do cover the basics of accounts, a much more basic version of FA in our college days. So you should have some understanding of that as well, in case that helps. Plus, FA is going to be like the base for some of the future subjects that we're going to talk about. But it's an interesting subject to start with. It's a scoring subject. So hopefully your interest in ACCA also rises right out of the gate. The second paper we recommend is management accounting. Now, MA is a lot about how within a business, right? How do you look at numbers, accounts? How do you look at all of that to help the business grow? Which means, how do you help a business improve the entire operation through numbers? How do you increase the margins? How do you check the price points? It's again very interesting. Some people find it a little more challenging than FA, but I've also seen people who find MA easier than FA. However, these two subjects are again, like I said, the bedrock, the foundation of a lot of your ACCA papers. Both are very interesting, both are numerical, both are scoring, and both require a lot of logic. These are the two papers we would recommend. Next is business and technology. This is basically a paper which is much more theoretical. It covers things on the front of technology, on economics, but once again, very scoring paper, very manageable. Compared to the others, an easier paper. By the way, if you want to do BT before FA/MA, you can. Right? And then finally comes law. Law is an isolated paper in ACCA, more or less. It doesn't really have any repercussions for the future papers. And law is much more about rote learning. It's a great paper to study. It does broaden our horizon on how to, absorb the world of finance, accounts, business by adding law into it. And you anyway have to give it. So it's the right time to give it after you're done with the first three papers of knowledge level. Now, when it comes to the skill level papers, you can start with financial reporting. FR. FR is, first of all, the bigger brother of FA. Right? FR is all about what we call IFRS, the accounting standards, the international accounting standards, something that ACCA revolves around. Right? And in India, we use what we call Ind AS, the Indian accounting standards. But these Indian accounting standards in the last few years have been basically evolved to replicate the international accounting standards. So what we learn in FR is 95% what applies to Indian accounting standards as well. Fun paper, lot of logic, lot of concept, lot of numbers. Once again, it's a scoring paper. After financial reporting, you can do what we call audit and assurance. While many people think it's theoretical, I personally have always viewed it as, again, a conceptual paper. Auditing is basically finding all the intentional and unintentional mistakes of your financial statements. And financial statements is what you learn in financial reporting. So you study financial reporting, understand how to make financial statements, study audit, learn how to find mistakes in it. Becomes a more interesting paper. Any case, I recommend many students that the first sort of stint as a job in the world of finance and accounts should be auditing, because I had done that and I saw the exposure auditing gives me, even if it might not be what you decide to do for the long term. Next, you can study taxation. Taxation is while many people find it a little cumbersome, I think it's again very scoring, because while there are many rules, tax has eventually a finite number of rules. So if you pay attention and you study within the right time, they can't ask you things which are beyond that, right? Whereas in other papers, it's all conceptual. So if you understand the concept, there is an unlimited amount of case studies that they can put. But in taxation, once you learn the right rules, that's it. And it's interesting because the tax concepts that they learn in ACCA are fundamental. Once again, whether you then look at Indian tax or any other country tax, the logic that this paper teaches you, right, is going to apply everywhere. Finally, I would recommend you give financial management and performance management. Financial management is again isolated. It's all about finance. I know a lot of you guys love finance at its core. It talks about investments, talks about the market, talks about forex, talks about working capital, and it's like a deep dive into some of the subjects of even a CFA level 1. But that is FM. People love FM. I think it's fun, interesting, once again highly scoring. And finally, give performance management. Performance management is the older brother of MA, management accounting. So again, it talks all about the internal ways of how numbers can help a business grow. Finally, coming to the professional level papers, start with SBL, Strategic Business Reader. One of my favorite subjects. It helps you look at the world of business through the lens of finance and accounts. So as an ACCA, I learned way more about marketing and operations and people and technology and how all of that sort of connects with numbers. And I started being able to visualize businesses in my head in the form of a P&L, knowing how business decisions are taken per line item. And that really gave me a lot of insight. So I find this subject really fascinating. It's a tedious subject. There's a lot to study, but I think if you practice it. Next is SBR, that is Strategic Business Reporting. This is the oldest brother of FA, FR and SBR. It covers the entire IFRS syllabus, right? Everything that you need to know. It is at the highest level what you will need to know about accounting standards, and then you can make careers. Like there is a whole department called accounting advisory that is about IFRS and how that connects to other countries' accounting standards or Indian accounting standards, and they're all open to hiring ACCAs in the country. Very scoring, very powerful subject. So I think SBR is amazing. And then after these two papers are professional, you any which ways are what we call the optional papers. I'm sure you guys know that there are 4 optional papers and you have to choose any 2. So whether it is advanced financial management, advanced performance management, advanced taxation or advanced audit, you can choose either. I would not recommend many people to go and jump into advanced taxation unless you love it, because the taxation modules we study are generally of the UK syllabus. And if you do want to get into Indian tax, then any which ways I tell people that do CA. But besides advanced taxation, right, advanced auditing is again a practical paper and it asks you to audit what you learnt in SBR. So it's like a stepping stone. Plus, by giving the audit paper, you have the liberty to practice auditing in many countries if you decide to go there. AFM, Advanced Financial Management, is for finance lovers. I think majority of the Zell students do AFM. And then there is APM, which is again the highest level of understanding how you can combine business with numbers. Now at the final level, they're all on your preference, all on where you want to specialize. The second point, which is important for anybody wanting to clear it in the first go, is the concept of mock exams. And what I mean by mock exams is any exam you take, right? There are multiple mock papers that either Zell gives or are available on online portals, or you can buy it. When you give a mock exam, you need to understand that if it's a 3-hour exam in the real exam, you need to give the mock exam in a similar exam environment. Lock your room for 3 hours. Throw the key away. Do not let anybody disturb you like it's a real exam. Go through them like it's a real exam. Answer them in whole. Do not have bullet points and shortcuts and mental calculations. Do it properly, and not only once. Do this 3 times. The first time, let's say you have a tough time, but you get the hang of how the exams go and you know where you stand. You have to evaluate yourself if you don't have teachers or mentors to help you. If you give the second mock, right, you will be a little more familiar with the entire environment and hopefully you'll score a little better. The third, you should be easily passing. And if you give these 3 mocks, by the time you enter the real exam, it should feel like a much easier time to actually crack these exams. If you can do this for all the papers, right, and you need to do this in the last month, pushing it, you should give 3 mocks in the last 15 days. You cannot spend lesser time than that. Lastly, guys, comes time management, not only when it comes to an individual exam, but the entire journey. I have seen people stuck in one level, whether it's the knowledge or the skill, for 2-3 years, and there is no good reason. It's not like that just studying every day and not clearing and having a hard time. These are students who are believing that, okay, exams are every quarter, so I'll give it in the next quarter. I don't feel prepared, or I have my sister's wedding, or I have my college, or I have season at work, or I have this problem, and they keep pushing it. guys, you're going to not only get fatigued out, but tired. You're not going to get the value that these exams are going to provide you. You're not going to have the momentum. You're not going to remember the past exam concepts. And then, of course, the chances that you clear in the first go are going to dip dramatically. So it's better to try and give some exam 2 times in case you don't clear, but making sure that you give it within a rigid period of time, than to keep delaying it with the hope that the first time you give it, you're going to clear. Because if you're a student who doesn't understand the urgency value of it, not only will you not clear in the first go, but you're not even going to get the benefit of clearing in the second go. So with all of this, guys, I hope that you found any sort of value. If there's more questions, please put in the comment. I will get back to you guys.